can see the cruelty of a system where rapists and paedophiles walk free, but a journalist reporting on them is jailed.
There's a problem with the grooming epidemic from the Muslim community, and I will say Muslim community, and that needs to be tackled. And there is also a massive problem with Islamic extremism. I know because I've grown up with Muslims.
We can't say anything about Pakistani Muslim.
So, yeah, I got onto Rebel Media. Pretty well done. Like I said, I'll use pretty much any means necessary to expose this epidemic. And I'm saying this, people are going to think I'm being very brutal, and I will be brutal because it's a brutal crime that's occurring, and I'm sick and tired of it, like I keep on saying. If I've got to be the most hated man in the UK by the Muslim community, I'll be that man. What I want to do is expose this, and the more popular I get, and I get into Rebel Media and I do this, the more the word will get out that there's a problem with the grooming, and not just within the white community, but with Sikhs as well, who've been fighting it since 40 years. I'll show you again so you can see. Yeah, let's have a look. So you got, and it's Katie Hopkins. Everyone hates Katie Hopkins. So you can see here it's Rebel. Katie Hopkins, huge Free Tommy Robinson, Rebel Media. And you got your own little Raj Singh Tattle.
Can see the cruelty of a system where rapists and paedophiles walk free, but a journalist reporting on them is jailed.
There's a problem with the grooming epidemic from the Muslim community, and I will say Muslim community, and that needs to be tackled. And there is also a massive problem with Islamic extremism. I know because I've grown up with Muslims.
We can't say.
All right.
A massive problem with
One thing I really love about this is the fact that they.
Needs to be tackled.
I'm not trying to troll people. So, activist. Don't call me a troll anymore. I am Raj Singh Tattle, the activist. Yeah, I'm an activist. And I get a lot of comments from like Pakistani Muslims going, oh, it's me, the bullies. I don't care, you're bullying or whatever they are. Just freaking sort the problem out. The other thing is people are saying, oh, well, they used to go out with Sikh girls are going out with Muslims. Oh, you know, you're just jealous. No, you're raping them. So there's difference between prostituting little girls out at 14, 12, 13, 14, drugging them up and raping them. If that's your idea of going out, then, you know, all right, you've got something really messed up in your own head. Yeah, so sort your brain out first before you tell me you're going out with them. Obviously, there must have been a couple of girls going out with them here, there and there. But there's hundreds of cases still going on. SAS is dealing with, from my understanding, 90 to 100 at the moment. Sikh Awareness Society, more and same. Sikh Youth UK, another organisation, DIPA that I know, they're dealing with another, 80 cases. Yeah, this is now. So when people are saying, they were going, no. When you're prostituting kids out, yeah, when they're like 12, 13, 14, if that's normal to you, then there's something wrong with you, yeah. So you need to stop doing this shit. Obviously, I've spoken about grooming a lot because it's something that pisses me off a lot. So I'm going to be I'm glad I got onto Rebel. I think I've spread my message. One day I'll get onto the BBC and then I'll do mass destruction on an epic scale. My goal is to humiliate and basically embarrass the Muslim community into submission, into stopping that stuff from going on. And I can do it because I've got a mouth and I'm brown as well. And I wear a turban and I've got experience. And so you can't shut me down with a race card anymore. So I'm your worst nightmare. I'm worse than Tommy Robinson. Yeah, I'm worse than him. I'm the person that you're probably going to have nightmares about. A bit like Hari Singh Nalawal. Google him. They used to have nightmares about him as well. So what I'm going to talk about now is, obviously I just mentioned Tommy Robinson. And yeah, he's been, from my understanding, moved over to... he's been moved over to... I'll just do my thingy so you can at least see something a bit more. Thingy, Raj Singh Tattle, the activist. But he's been moved over to a new prison. And they're saying it's in Onley. And... yeah, I don't like when news, like some places like Infowars and all that kind of stuff, report things and... oh yeah, before I go on, I'm actually somewhere, I'm not at home, so yeah, this is a nice little place. I'm here for a couple of days, can't say where, and I can't say why. It's private. But let's just say I'm doing something for the family. And so he's been moved, and they've been saying like, it's like 70% population of Muslims in that prison. you know, I think when you over exaggerate things, you kind of make the message become less impactful. He has been moved to a prison with a high Muslim population, and obviously a lot of Muslims do not like him, so it is dangerous for him. Let's just hope that nothing happens and that he's kept safe, maybe in solitary confinement, and we'll just say big up Tommy Robinson, let's free him. And let's hope that he stays safe, because I think it'll be a disaster for the UK if something happens to him, because people are going to be pissed off massively, and the government, uh, you know, there's certain things that will just trigger a massive problem. And I'm not going to say what, but if Tommy Robinson, something was to happen to him, like he was beaten up or killed or something like that, I think the anger would just be unprecedented. So whether you like him, you hate him, whatever, just hope that nothing happens, because I don't want anything escalating, because I don't believe in violence. Actually, do I believe in violence? I believe in violence. The Sikhs believe that, you know, as the last resort, if all other means fail, then obviously you've got to. So, but I don't want violence for the sake of violence, like riots and stuff. The other thing I'm going to touch upon, and I'll probably do a video of it in the future, is about this guy called Atul Kochhar, one of my subscribers. I've forgotten who. Sorry, bro. I should have bigged him up. I can't go back to that. Atul Kochhar is an Indian had an Indian restaurant, Michelin starred, and he's been sacked, or his contract's been removed from a Dubai hotel after he claimed that Muslims had terrorized Hindus for thousands of years. And so he wrote a response to Chopra, this Indian actress, US TV show Quantico, and he just said, hold on, let me have a look. So he was a bit annoyed that they were showing Hindus being kind of like terrorists and stuff, and they are. Everyone has terrorists within their kind of faiths and stuff. But I don't see what he said was overly wrong. I need to find it. I should have really checked this. He said, yeah. So he had said this year after this Priyanka Chopra, she'd done a movie about Hindus and stuff like that. That it's sad to see that you have not. This is the guy Atul Kochhar is a Hindu saying about the depiction of Hindus. It's sad to see that you have not respected the sentiments of Hindus who have been terrorized by Islam over 2,000 years. Shame on you, he wrote. What do I say about that? The dates are wrong, obviously. 2,000 years. Islam is a 1,400-year-old religion, so that's wrong. There's no doubt, anyone that knows about Indian history, that India, and my ancestors, as much as I say that I'm not Indian, because the reason I say I'm not Indian is not because I'm not Indian in terms of my ancestry and genetics, is I have a problem with the Indian government about how they're treating Punjab. But my history is a shared history of people from India. So my ancestors were Hindus at some point, you know. So the people, Indian history isn't just like Sikh history starts at the 15th century, but you know, there were people, my ancestors before that would have been Hindus, and things like, you know, the Vedas and the Indus Valley civilization and all of these kind of things from the Punjab and northern India is something that I'm very proud of. I think a lot of Muslims are not proud of anything pre-Islamic. They seem to say, oh, that's nothing to do with us, but I'm proud of it. So what if it's a Hindu culture, you know, Hinduism brought a lot of great things as well, and you should be proud of the whole thing. Doesn't mean I'm Hindu, it just means I'm proud of the past, and the Vedas and the Rig Vedas and, you know, the Sanskrit and all that is an amazing achievement for mankind. And he's right that India was raped. I mean, I've had a conversation with Adnan Rashid and I was totally unprepared, and, you know, that's still being used against me as a kind of, oh, Raj, you lost that debate. I'm pretty sure if I had another one with him, which I will in the future, I'll probably, sorry, Adnan Rashid, I think it'll go my way quite easily. Right, India has been raped, not for 2,000 years, but for, definitely for 800 years. From the 10th century, when the Turks, sorry if I get this wrong, I need to research properly. I haven't read up on it in a long time. You had an Islamic conquest continuously from the 10th up to say the 18th century. You have mass genocides on an epic scale. You're looking at, if you estimated, some people say 150 million, some people say 200 million dead over an 800-year period. And it's sad to see that, I think what he done wrong mainly, what he said was true. India has been terrorized by Islam. There's no doubt about it. Hindus have probably been the biggest, let's just say, victims. I mean, there's cases, I'll go over it in the future. I mean, one of the things Adnan Rashid said to me when I first told him that, I made a mistake and said 400 million, and that was just because my figures were inflated. But still, 150 million is still an unbelievable amount of people to be killed at a time when there was no guns or bullets or stuff like this, just with the sword. And he told me at one point that not even 100,000 Hindus had been murdered. And when I came back the next week, I showed him from his proof of a Muslim chronicler who was writing down what was going on for his Muslim kind of kings and stuff. They killed, just in one incident, 100,000 Hindus in one day. They were chopping people's heads off at 10 at a time, and they just couldn't get through. I think it lasted a day and a half. And so this kind of brutality continued. Obviously, not all the time. Some of the Islamic rulers were pretty good. I'll go through it in the thingy, and those ones were more, let's say, pragmatic and understood that to work with the indigenous population. But the brutality of the Mughal or the Islamic conquest. Remember, you had the Islamic conquest, but there is a Mughal area which is more towards the end of their reign, and that affected the Sikhs more. And also obviously the Hindus as well, but the Sikhs fought back, and this is one of the reasons why Sikhs are so militaristic, because we had to become, if you look at Guru Nanak Dev Ji, which is the first Guru, and then you look at, I'll just put it on here, then when you look at Raj Singh activist, I just want to annoy people, activist, Zubin. So, and when you look at Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he was a more of a passive saint or Baba or what we call a Guru. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji, please, if you've got any Sikhs and I've not said it properly, stop crying in the comments, just correct me. And then you have Guru Gobind Singh Ji, who in 1699 created the Khalsa, which was what you see today with the Sikhs, which is a militaristic, what we call saint soldier concept, where we believe in kind of defending ourselves. God knows what's happening, my light's on. And so, yeah, he was right when he said the Islamic conquest of India was an absolute barbaric conquest lasting 800 years. And I don't know why people are not accepting this. I mean, one of the things I find quite annoying about Muslim people in general is like they'll condemn the British conquest of India, constantly going over it. But as soon as you mention the Islamic conquest, oh, it was amazing. Oh, they came in with flowers. They were literally walking around dancing and laughing and hugging, and the Hindus were just like, please convert me, please show me the light. No one died, and it was just anyone that did die, it was by accident. So those 100,000 just fell over and like hit their head on a rock or something, rather than being executed. They died from natural causes or whatever. And so I'm sick and tired of this. I mean, Adnan Rashid, like the way he talks about I respect Adnan Rashid as a person, as an historian to a certain degree, but his version of history is so skewed that he has no kind of real concept of the barbarity of the Islamic conquest. And the Hindus, as much as some people might think I dislike Hindus or I say things, but I don't. I do have a problem with the Hindu government. I don't have a problem with Hindus. I have a problem with the BJP and the RSS and all that kind of stuff, and the way the Sikhs have been oppressed. But my history is your history, and we've all suffered. The Sikhs suffered from the Islamic conquest, and then prior to us being Sikhs, my ancestors, they would have been Hindus, so they suffered as well. And we have a reason to be annoyed about the conquest of India. It's not something that was a pleasant experience. It was extremely brutal, just because of the fact that the Muslims did not see the Hindus as people of the book, like the Christians and the Jews. They saw them as pagans and idolaters, and so they didn't come under this kind of dhimmi protection at the beginning, and so they were just brutalized to an unbelievable extent. Remember, Afghanistan was Hindu at one point, and you have a place like the Hindu Kush, which is just like, I think, Hindu death. And so you just have like millions of people being massacred over a long period of time. I'll do another video at some point about this, really going into more depth, so I can learn at the same time. And so then you have obviously this pure guy support him. Atul Kuchar, he was just stating facts. Now, facts are now hate. You know, they call them hate facts. If I said to you that the Catholic conquistadors who went down to the American, like Mexican place like that, caused a mass genocide, yeah, and was probably one of the worst crimes in human history, you wouldn't have a problem with that, would you? Now, somebody saying that the Islamic conquest over India terrorized the Hindus for X amount, he just got the dates wrong. What is wrong with that? It's just a fact. You know, let's stop pussyfooting around. I'm sick and tired of people not understanding the brutality of the Mughal Empire and the Islamic conquest. For Sikhs, let me just say something. You created the Sikhs to a certain extent. I know Sikhs are not going to like this, and we become your worst nightmares, because we got brutalized so much that now we're like, each Sikh is like a one-man army going around, like, you know, like myself and any other Sikh, as long as they got the balls. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of Muslims find difficult to handle, because you know, we know our history, we know what's happened. We cannot. You can forgive, but why forget? You know, you can forgive. It's not their fault, but you don't forget. At least acknowledge what happened. This is one of the biggest problems I have as well. Muslims tend to not acknowledge, whereas the Brits are continuously self-flagellating and saying, oh, sorry. All right, we accept your apologies. Say sorry a bit more. Muslims do not accept it. Very few that I've met that would say that it was brutal. It would be like, all right. I mean, their ancestors, no offense, were the cowards who bent over and they converted. Sorry, guys, you know it. They just converted. They were probably the ones, little Hindus in a little village. Oh, I don't want to die. And all right, we'll change. Or some of them might have had a sword to their neck, and they're like, all right, we'll change. And so let them, you know, that's what they did. We can see how they changed. Some of them might have done it by choice because they thought it would be a better life, but I don't think many of them done it because they truly believed in Islam at the time. I think most of them done it for that particular reason. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I better go in because the phone is ringing. Anyway, bye.